Good morning, dear students. Myself, Dr. T. Raghuraman, Associate Professor at Department of Automobile Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. This video class, we will see about the topic force system. It is coming under the course name Engineering Mechanics, covering under the code U20 MEET01. We will see about, before going to the force system, we will see about what is the mechanics. Initially, what is a mechanics and what are all the internal category under the mechanics that we can see. Then we will see about one of the concurrent force system problem at the end. So this video lecture is prepared by myself, Dr. D. Raghuraman, Department of Automobile Engineering, and Dr. K. Selvakumar, Department of Mechanical Engineering. About engineering mechanics, if you are seeing engineering mechanics, first you will see what is a mechanics. A mechanics, it is what the oldest of physical sciences. It is already Archimedes. He had introduced the mechanics concept in the 287 to 212 BC itself through principles of lever and buoyancy. And this mechanics, if you are seeing, mechanics is a branch of the physical sciences that is concerned with the state of rest or motion of bodies subjected to the action of forces. So if you are seeing as the action of forces for state of rest or motion, the state of rest is what we will be seeing as an statics. Under a rigid body mechanics, if you are considering state of rest, that is what stated to be a statics. And if you are considering the state of a motion, and if you are studying about what is the action of forces, that is what you will be saying as a dynamics. Then you have a deformable body mechanics that you will be separately studying, not under this first year level. You will be having a mechanical subject as well as civil subject. You will be studying about in depth about what is a deformable body mechanics and also a fluid mechanics. Apart from the solid, the fluid also you will be studying. Fluid means you will be going to have a liquid as well as gas both. That's what you will be seeing under the case of a fluid mechanics. And in case of rigid body mechanics, if you're seeing a rigid body mechanics, a basic requirement for the study of the mechanics of deformable bodies and the mechanics of fluids in advanced courses, you'll be going to see about a rigid body mechanics. And essentially, it is what essential for the design and analysis of many types of structural members, especially a mechanical component, electrical devices, so many things encountered in case of an engineering fields. And if you're seeing a rigid body, that it is not deform under the load. If you are applying a load, the rigid body does not deform. That's what if you are having a deformable body mechanics, you are studying that under the case of strength of materials and the upcoming semesters. So seeing rigid body mechanics, as already we have seen, it has statics as well as dynamics. In dynamics anyway, it is further divided into kinematics and kinetics. But when seeing about statics, as already you have seen, it is the study of the body at rest. That is what it is the branch of an engineering mechanics. It deals with the forces and their effects whenever it is acting upon the bodies at rest. That is what we will be dealing the equilibrium of body under the action of forces. You know about equilibrium. Equilibrium was the forces, net forces. If you are saying that will make a resultant to make in a rest position. That is not going to make any motion. That is what a combined action of forces. That is not going to make any motion. That will remain the body to keep at a rest position. So this is what you can able to see. This is in a static position only, but it have a number of forces. You can able to see a person is sitting on a chair, but as a person is sitting on a chair, you can able to see it had support reactions from the floor. You will be having the reaction forces that is supporting, as well as his back is supporting on the back of the chair. Okay, so the support is here also. You will be having a wall support. Okay, that's what supports and reaction you have. Similarly, if you are seeing the practical applications, in case of on a crane, you will be having a link on this. You will be going to see about movements. Movements will be applied. So a simple rigid body mechanics here you can see. Also, you can able to see about movement concept, couple concept. These concept you will be having lot of practical application if you are seeing about our rigid body mechanics. And also in case of dynamics, that is what it's for the case of rest. Okay, for the case of rest we are see statics. For the case of motion we are going to see for the dynamics. That is what, as already I said, you will be having a kinematics as well as kinetics. So this is also what a branch of engineering mechanics. Forces in effect you are going to see for bodies in motion. Okay, bodies in rest means for saying that as statics. Bodies in motion means you will be saying it as an dynamics. So dynamics, that is what further it is subdivided into kinetics as well as kinematics. So if you are seeing kinetics, the force which is for required for making the motion, if you are considering that also, that is what you will be saying kinetics. But kinematics, you are not going to consider that forces which is required for making the motion. That is what Kinetics means it is the branch of a dynamics that deals with the body in motion due to the application of forces. That application force also you are considering. That is kinetics. But kinematics, it is also the branch of dynamics that deals with bodies in motion without any reference to the forces which are responsible for the motion. Especially, you will be seeing about what is the displacement, velocity, acceleration, and time. This thing is what you are seeing in case of kinematics. So now about a fundamental concept, a fundamental dimensioning unit, if you are seeing, you will be having a LMT system, that is what a length, mass and time system. So seeing about length, length is what it is needed to locate a position upon a point in space and also describing the size of a physical system. That's what you can able to see the distances, geometric properties. This thing will cover under the length. And about mass, it is the quantity of matter in body, measure of an inertia of a body, it's resistant to change in velocity. Then about a time, it's a measure of succession of event. It is what the basic quantity in dynamics, because in dynamics, you are having initially displacement, then going for a velocity and acceleration, you are doing it with respect to time only. You are having a differentiation with respect to time. So it is what a main event for the case of a dynamic. This is the basic quantity for the dynamics. And apart from this, we are considering force system because this topic is dealing with force system only. That is what in statics very basic. So if you are seeing this force system, that is derived from this length mass time unit only. This is a representation of action of one body over another. If you are applying a force, then only you can able to make a movement of an object. That is what it is characterized by its magnitude as well as direction of action and its point of application. By the point of application only, you can be able to give a different name for the force. Either you are giving a pushing action or pulling action. Okay, that's what where you are going to apply it. Depending upon that, you will be making a name of the force, either a tensile force or a compressive force, shear force. It's depending upon in what direction you are applying and what is the point of application. Depending upon that, you are going to give name of the force also. So we are seeing the force is being a vector quantity, but we are seeing individual thing that will be what is a scalar unit means we will not get any direction. It's also need a direction of action. If you are not having a direction of action, you are having only a quantity of matter like mass, length, this thing what a scalar unit. If you are not having any direction dependent, then that is what you will be saying scalar. Anyway, you are going to see what is scalar vector on upcoming slides. So Newtonian mechanics means you will be having consideration of length, time, mass or absolute concept, and these are all what independence of each other. But if you are considering force, that is being derived concept from these fundamental units. So it is not at all an independent one, it is dependent on the other fundamental concept. So it is acting on your body and it is related to the mass of the body and the variation of velocity with time. So it is dependent on other fundamental units. So from that you will be deriving for the force. The force can also be, that's what it's occur where between the body that are physically separated. For example, you can see the force, if you are be having a gravitational force, electrical force, magnetic force. That is what a point of application where you are applying it. Depending upon that, you are going to give the name for the force. So this is what as already we see fundamental quantities is being the first three is being what the fundamental units mass length time and the unit for that is what kilogram for the case of mass that is the standard unit and length it is meter and for a time it is being second and force it is fundamental unit is being Newton but this force is the derived unit. So the first three if you are seeing that is what called to be a basic unit. So mass length time is the basic unit and if you're seeing about force that is being a derived unit. So force you can able to obtain F equal to ma. This is actually from the Newton's second law of motion. From Newton's second law of motion you will be getting force that is equal to mass into acceleration. As we know the basic unit for the mass as well as the acceleration that again you can have to make a derivation. So you can able to obtain acceleration. It is being meter per second square. That is coming from the fundamental units. That's what if you are seeing this force, this is being a derived unit. So its unit is kilogram into meter per second square. As we know, mass it is kilogram, fundamental unit. Acceleration it is again a further derived unit. It is meter per second square because acceleration is what how much variation you are going to make in your velocity. Velocity means meter per second. Again, change in velocity if you are seeing. So dv by dt if you are seeing, you are going to get the unit as meter per second square. That's what you are getting for a force. You are getting the unit as kilogram into meter per second square. That is what it is identified by Newton's law. He is responsible for the identification of force actions. So that is why the unit is given with Newton for the force. The Newton is given as a unit because as it is invented by Sir Isaac Newton. So now F equal to ma you can see like that W if you are considering weight instead of an acceleration you are going to put a gravitation. That is what popular. Isaac is popular because of the apple that is falling down on the ground. He is identifying because of gravity it is falling down. Okay, so that W equal to mg. So force also it is given with his name Newton as a unit. So W equal to mg. If you are seeing again the unit is going to be the same. Mass you are having to have a kilogram and g is what 9.81 meter per second square. You are going to get it in Newton only. Weight you are going to say in Newton, that is kilogram into meter per second square. And if you are seeing 1 Newton, that is what? That is the force required to give you a mass of 1 kg and acceleration of 1 meter per second. That is what? This is suitable for the first one, okay? And if you are seeing for the weight, it will be what? 9.81 meter per second square because it's a gravity. Acceleration is B, a gravitational acceleration, okay? And this is what a fundamental exponential form, giga, mega, kilo, and milli, micro, nano. This thing you can able to see while you are solving problems. You can be able to see these unit system. Giga means it is 10 power 9, and mega means it is 10 power 6, and kilo means 10 power 3. Similarly, submultiple if you're seeing milli means it is 10 power minus 3, micro means 10 power minus 6, and nano means 10 power minus 10. These are all main. Apart from this, you are having other exponential forms also there, but this is main. As a first year level, you have to learn about this thing, okay? And about the differentiation between a mass and weight. Mass, if you are seeing, mass is a property of matter that does not change from one location to another. And weight, if you are seeing, weight refers to the gravitational attraction of the earth on a body or a quantity of mass. Its magnitude is depends upon the elevation at which the mass is located. If you are seeing weight of the body, that is the gravitational force acting on it. Now we will see simplification about what is a particle. If you are going to simplify a major element, a infinite element, your dimension you can't able to measure for the case of an earth especially. But if you are going to make some motion about of that one, then you have to assume it as a particle. Okay, that is what you are simplifying the application of theory. A body with mass but with a dimension that can be neglected. If you're seeing the earth motion, if you have to analyze, you know earth is having an infinite dimension. It is difficult to measure, but you can assume it as a particle whenever you are going to make analysis. If you are going to see size of the earth, it is insignificant compared to the size of its orbit. So earth can be modeled as a particle when studying its orbital motion. If you're seeing a particle you are not going to give a dimension. That is what a particle. So for the analysis of orbital motion, you can consider it as a particle. And if you are seeing rigid body means a combination of large number of particles in which all particles remain at a fixed distance and from one another before and after applying load. That is what you will be making a combination of lot of particles so that you can able to make it as a rigid body. And material properties of a rigid body that is not required to be considered when analyzing the forces acting on the body. In most cases, actual deformations occurring in structures, machines, mechanism, etc., or it is relatively small, and rigid body assumption is suitable for analysis. And if you're seeing about the concentrated force, it is being effect of loading which is assumed to act at a point on a body. It is provided the area over which the load is applied is very small compared to the overall size of the body. You are seeing that an example, contact between wheel and ground, you can able to see the concentrated force. It is going to make a concentrated force, whatever the larger body it is, you are going to get a concentrated force only at the tire contact. So here you will be having a certain Newton, 40 kN means, and backside you will be having a more weight, okay, because of the center of gravity position. More weight will be going to carry out by the rear wheel, so that you will be having some 160 kN more weight, more amount of weight it is going to get in a rear wheel. Okay, that is what you will be having area coverage. Okay, so whatever the mass load you are having, that is going to cover in a small concentration area. And now you're going to see about Newton's three laws of motion: first law, second law, third law of motion. It is a easier one only. First law of motion is what? Whenever the force is having, you are going to make a disturbance of on a body at rest, then only it can move. Otherwise, it will remain in the state of the rest position. Already, if your body is moving in a steady uniform velocity position, that also, unless otherwise, if you are making a further acceleration, it will continue on the same velocity only. That's what the first law. Similarly, the second law, if you are seeing, that F equal to ma is what the second law of motion, and the third law, for every action there will be an equal and opposite reaction. Apart from these three laws of motion, also we are required to see about the gravitational law of motion. We will see about each type of laws of motion. It is what a basic of formation of rigid body mechanics. About the first law, a particle originally at rest or moving in a straight line with constant velocity that tends to remain in the state provided the particle is not subjected to an unbalanced force. So it is going to be in a state of the rest portion, otherwise it is moving in a straight line. This is what this it is showing. It is moving in a straight line with a constant velocity. It is moving in a straight line with a constant velocity. Unless otherwise it is disturbed, unbalanced force you are making a subjection. Okay, otherwise it will remain at that rest position only. It will remain at that uniform velocity position only. That is what the first law is. So this first law, it's what contains the principle of equilibrium of forces. This is what main topic of concern in statics. And about the second law, the principle, the particle of mass m that is acted upon by an unbalanced force F that experiences an acceleration A that has the same direction as the force and a magnitude that is directly proportional to the force. If you are seeing the accelerated motion, you are applying on a particle of mass m, okay? So F equal to m, and also you are giving some acceleration as you are giving force. So that's what that force, it will be having mass into acceleration. So F equal to me. This is what a Newton's second law of motion. So the second law, it's what form the basis for most of the analysis in dynamics. And about the third law, the mutual forces of action and reaction between two particles, that is what E equal and opposite and collinear, that is what a third law. For E, that is what we will be seeing. For each action, there will be equal and opposite reaction. That is what the third law of Newton's law of motion. So this third law is what the basis for understanding of force. Forces always occurs in pairs of equal and opposite forces. About Newton's law of gravitational attraction, the weight of the body that is required to be computed in statics as well as dynamics. This law is what governs the gravitational attraction between any two particles. If you are seeing F, that is equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. If you are seeing these two masses, that is what it is related to the earth as well as a small mass above the earth. Depending upon that, you will be making a calculation of this Newton law of gravitational attraction. You will be seeing that F is what mutual force of attraction between two particles, and capital G, it is universal constant of gravitation. By experiment, it is identified with the value G equal to 6.673 into 10 power minus 11 meter cube, and that is what the rotation of earth is not taken into account on that. M1 m2 is being masses of two particles, and that small r is being distance between two particles. This is a Newton's law of gravitational attraction. And now about the earth, if you are considering the entire earth, then the definition is refined. If the particle is located at or near the earth's surface, then only significant gravitational force is that between the earth and the particle you are considering. So if you are seeing, this is the mass of the earth, capital Me is what mass of the earth, and one small particle you are keeping above the earth, and that is the distance between the center of the earth and the particle center. So if you are seeing the weight of the particle having mass m1, that is equal to small m, that is the particle mass, and you are having earth that is being a non-rotating sphere of constant density, and it has a mass m2, then that will be what me. So already you are seeing m1 m2, instead of that m1 m2, now you are putting small m and capital Me, so that on that only you are replacing. But now your consideration of two particles is one is earth, another one is a small particle above the earth. So that is what you will be knowing, W equal to M into small g. So all the things you are making simplification so that you are obtaining W equal to small m into g. G is what? 9.81. That g is what? This capital G me by r square. You are keeping this small m particle mass and the gravitational force. So this g and me r square, these we are substituting. By that we are getting 9.81 meter per second square. As already said, we will see about what is scalars and vectors. Only magnitude, if you are considering, that is what said to be a scalar. If you are seeing example, time, volume, density, speed, energy, mass, these things is what example for the scalars. Now, why the speed is underlined is, you are having a vector example also with the same thing. If it is speed, you are saying it's scalar. The same thing, if you are saying it as a velocity, then that will come under the vectors. If you see vectors that possesses direction as well as magnitude, you are considering direction also. So if only if you are seeing speed, a bus is running at an 80 kilometer per hour, that means you are not giving a direction. But if you are saying with meter per second, you have to give the direction also, what direction it is moving. Okay, and that is what, if you are seeing vectors, it must obey the parallelogram law of addition also. So seeing the example, displacement and the velocity is what in the case of vectors. Okay, acceleration, force, momentum. These are all we have considered in the case of vectors example. Okay. So equivalent vector, if you are seeing, you can add the two vectors v1 and v2. That's what you will be having parallelogram law of addition, a triangle law. Okay, that you can see. You have two velocities. v1 it is going horizontal direction and v2 some angle. Now you can make it an addition of a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, you can attach the horizontal V1 and the angular V2. So that is what it is covering in a parallelogram. So the resultant will be the diagonal joining that. So V will be equal to V1 plus V2. That is what you will be making addition in the parallelogram law. So you can able to make it as an addition. So it has the direction and it has the magnitude. So speed is the magnitude of velocity. If you are seeing velocity, velocity you are considering direction also. If you are not considering direction, then only magnitude if you are taking from velocity, that is what the speed is. If you are seeing parallelogram law of forces for a two forces system, you can consider parallelogram law of forces. So there is a formula for that. A resultant will be able to identify it by square root of f1 square plus f2 square plus 2 f1 f2 cos theta, and also its angle can be identified. Tan alpha will be identified as f2 sin theta by f1 plus f2 cos theta. What f1 f2 is, it is what the forces whose resultant is required to be found out. You can able to see the application, a practical application. From that you can able to identify the resultant. A resultant can be said f suffix r, otherwise directly you can write a capital R, that it means it's a resultant. Okay, and theta is what the angle between the forces f1 f2, and alpha you can take resultant force with any one force. Okay, that is what alpha is. Okay, and also you will be having a trigonometry law, resultant force and components that will be forming a law of cosine and law of sines. So this is what the triangle, you can be having a sides A, B, C, and it have the angle small a, B, C. And for that you will be having a cosine law as well as sine law. About a force system, in a force system, we are having a magnitude and a direction and a point of application. That is what important for change in any of the three specification that will alter the effect on the bracket. Okay, so force is a fixed vector. In case of a rigid body, line of action of force is important, and it is not the point of application is what interested in, only the resultant external effect force is known. Okay, so this is what a cable tension you can able to see. Okay, here a cable tension, this is what actually the application that you can convert into a free body diagram. Actually here you will be having a tension force, that is what a cable tension you can make, and it have the application of angle, so you can convert into a force vector. Okay, you can able to consider it as a force vector. It has experience of a tension. Okay, that is what a cable tension you will be having. So it has the external effect as well as internal effect. Forces applied will have the applied forces that will be exerted by the brackets bolts foundation, that has a reactive force, that is external effect. And if you are seeing deformation strain pattern, that will be having permanent strain, that is depending upon material properties, that will be having an internal effect. This external effect you can see externally. Internal effect, it is happening inside the solid, you can't able to directly see it, but once it is exceeding a limit, then externally it will show the effect. And if you are seeing forces system, there are a number of forces system, but for this unit, it is concentrated to go with only concurrent forces. You are having also a non-concurrent forces, a coplanar system, non-coplanar system, but this unit is focused with the concurrent force system. Okay, concurrent force, if you are seeing, forces are said to be concurrent whenever the point of application of line of action, it is intersect at a single point. Okay, at a single point all the forces will act, that is what concurrent forces. If you are taking f1 f2 or a concurrent force, then a resultant will be r equal to f1 and f2. If you are seeing here, as already you have seen in the parallelogram law. Okay, that resultant will be what, that addition of f1 and f2 in a parallelogram law. Okay, so forces act at a same point, and if it is act at a different point, you can apply a principle of transmissibility and you can transfer. It is at some other point, it is not at the same point, it is at some other point, but line of action is same, then you have a principle of transmissibility, you can transfer. It is going to have the same effect while you are pulling from here and pulling from here. It is having that force and direction, it is going to make the effect same effect only. So that's why you can able to apply a line of action being the same and the force magnitude also is the same, so you can transfer that point to here. That is what your principle of transmissibility. So that is what you are applying, a principle of transmissibility, and you can able to make, even though it is acted at a different point, but the line of action is being same, then also you can able to make it as a concurrent force. So the resultant force will be what, it is a f1 plus f2 vector. And if you are seeing the resultant vector, you will be having the head tail connection for the individual vector, then finally the resultant you will be getting head to head connection. That is what a triangle law. Okay. So now if you are seeing components and projection of force, component of a force are not necessarily equal to the projection of the force unless the axis on which the forces are projected are orthogonal. If you are seeing as the same thing, okay, f1 f2, you have to be get the forces perpendicular to each other. That is what the major important one. If you are seeing f1 f2 are components of resultant, and you are seeing resultant, you are seeing it is being f1 plus f2, and this is, you can see here, okay, on here you are seeing that that line of action, if you are seeing, the resultant will get perpendicular to that one. If you are making fa fb, that will get perpendicular to that one. So fa and fb are a perpendicular projection and axis a and b respectively, and resultant, that will not be equal if fa and fb is not perpendicular. If it is not perpendicular, it will not be getting equivalent. Okay, so now these are all what a way of identification of horizontal component of forces and vertical component of forces. That will be said horizontal component is said fx and fy while you are considering x-axis, y-axis. But in different problem, it is while in graph you had seen horizontal means x, vertical means y. But in a problem, in a different angle also this xy can be given. If it is given like that, you have to apply our trigonometry properly. Opposite side will be knowing, that is sine formula will come, and adjacent side is applicable for cos formula, because we know cos theta is what? It is adjacent side by hypotenuse, and sine theta is being what? It is opposite side by hypotenuse. By applying that concept, you can able to make the formula. If it is being making with the axis, the force of action, okay, you will be seeing this fx will be what? It is coming at opposite direction, so that you will be getting sine, okay, as sine beta, and this y-axis is what? It is now in adjacent direction for the degree, okay. So it is what? F cos beta, and the force is being a tensile, so that you will be having a positive. If it is going towards the point, okay, that is a compressive nature, so we will be making negative, okay. And also the same thing, we will be having adjacent side cos, okay, and the opposite side you will be going to make sine, okay. So that's what you will be having a point of application. Depending upon that, you will be having variation upon a magnitude depending upon the point of application. If it is compressive, you are making negative. Tensile means you are making positive. But if it is not making with axis, if it is represented with the component, okay, that is what this do. If it is represented with the component, you will be having the change of formula. You are having 180 minus this angle. 180 minus this angle. That is what's considered for the change of action. Whenever it is not making with the here, okay, you are going to make with the component on the other direction, okay. You can make with y-axis means here you can take this angle, this is what y is, okay. So you can make it as a 180 minus beta also, okay. If you are making like that, you will be having a variation of formula, okay. And now you can see about vectors, okay, as you have seen in the previous one, okay. If you are having a vector direction and theta is known, how you can write in case of a vector form? In vector form, you can write that b vector, that will be equal to b into cos theta I plus sin theta j. This is what fxi plus fyj form, okay. So a horizontal component and a vertical component. Sin theta will be what? On the vertical side, this is on horizontal side, so that you can make cos theta I plus sin theta I. Similarly, if it is given with some magnitude, it has a triangle and 3 4 like that, with the magnitude is given, then you can make that b will be equal to, you can write in the magnitude form 4i plus 3j, because x-axis you are having 4 and y-axis you are having 3, so 4i plus 3j. Then identification of magnitude for that, square root of 4 square plus 3 square, okay. So that you are having magnitude and a vector form, so that you can able to identify what is the vector form. This will be forming you a unit vector concept, okay. So another thing, if you are having a coordinate also, you can make like this, a coordinate subtraction you can do, and the magnitude for that coordinates, okay. See 9 minus 2, okay, and 6 minus 3, and for that 9 minus 2 whole square, 6 minus 3 whole square, you are forming a unit vector, okay. So unit vector into the actual vector, that will give you the magnitude, okay. So now you can see as an example, okay, a example problem. So determine the xy component for this scalar component f1 and f2 f3. It is required to identify. We can see both analytical way as well as the vector approach, both we can see. See now, this is what the given diagram. In this given diagram, you are having three forces. Now you will be having a F1 force that you are subdividing into, you are making into two rectangular components, x component as well as y component. As you are making a x component, F1x and F1y, you can able to identify F1x, F1y. How the F1x and F1y can be identified, we'll be going to see in the upcoming slides, okay. Now you will be making it into rectangular component. On this slide, you are going to see how you are dividing into a rectangular component. So you will be making it F1x as well as F1y. Similarly, F2, you will be making here, the direction is what? In this direction, it is going towards this direction. That side direction, you are making a combination of F2x and F2y, because it is going towards left side direction. So x is going left side direction, and going upward direction, y is upward direction. Because we are going to consider the x-axis, whatever we have seen in the case of mathematics, x-axis, y-axis graph we had drawn, and that if it is going from the origin right side, that is positive, left side is negative. Similarly, upward is what? Positive, and the downward is negative. But same thing is what we are going to consider here. This right side, if it is moving for x, that is positive, left side movement is what? Negative. Similarly, upward y is positive and downward y is negative. So here you will be seeing this is going downward direction. So the combination of force is what? Y is going downward, x is going towards rightward direction. Okay. Now you will see this consideration of these three. Okay, and we are going to solve the problem now. Okay. So for the first one, okay, first force, okay, the component of force F1x, F1y. So F1x will be what? It will be, yeah, adjacent side. We know about the adjacent side. Okay, cos theta will be what? That will be equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. Okay, from that adjacent side you can write hypotenuse into cos theta. By that you will be getting it 600 into cos 35. So by calculation you are getting it's 491 Newton. And also about the vertical component F1y you will be going to get, it is being opposite side. Okay, so F1y is here, you can transfer that to here because it is being what? Parallelogram law. Whatever the magnitude here, same magnitude also here. Okay, F1y is here, so as it is opposite side, you will be having what? Opposite side you will be knowing it is opposite side by hypotenuse is what you are having sine formula. So hypotenuse equal to opposite side into that sine formula, so that you will be making it 344 Newton. Now similarly that this one, okay, for the triangle 3 4. Okay, so horizontal responsibility is what? 4. Okay, and vertical axis you will be having 3. So you can write that as 4 by 5. How you are making this 5 is, this is what? Hypotenuse. So you can make the hypotenuse is what? Square root of 3 square plus 4 square. So you will be getting square root of 9 plus 16. So you are getting square root of 25, that is equal to 5. 5 is what? Hypotenuse. Okay, so your component here, it is what? It is being 4 by 5. This responsibility is what? 3 by 5 with respect to hypotenuse. Like that directly you can multiply and you can identify what is F2x and F2y. And here the third force, it is what? It is given with coordinates. Okay, it is given with the coordinate position 0.2 meter, 0.4 meter. So here you can make identification of angle. Okay, by making the concept tan theta is what? Opposite by adjacent side. By applying that, you will be identifying what is the alpha angle. So that alpha angle you can apply as we had solved in the first one. Okay, so that you will be identifying what is F3x value, F3y value. This is the alternative solution, vector approach. You are following a vector approach. In vector approach, if you are going to solve a vector approach, a F1 vector if you are solving, you will be having a F1 magnitude into unit vector. By that you can able to identify what is F1 vector. This bolded one is vector and the not bolded one is a scalar. Okay, scalar into unit vector will give you a vector form. Okay, if you are seeing that F1 value is known, it is given in the question. Okay, it is 600 Newton. Okay, and now unit vector you are seeing, you will be having the angle. Okay, as you have seen three forces how you have to solve in vector form already shown in the slide. So depending upon that cos theta I plus sin theta j divided by that cos theta square plus sin theta square. Now we have the theta 35, that is what you are substituting, so that you can identify what will be the F1. It is 600, and by substituting this you are getting the answer 0.819 I plus 0.5735 j. Okay, so by simplification you are getting a vector form 491 I plus 344 j, and this is what fxi vector plus fij vector. This F1 is divided into fx as well as fi. Okay, so this is fx, horizontal component is 491 and your vertical component is 344 Newton. Okay, so now about F2, it is also what? F2 equal to N2, that is a unit vector. Okay, so unit vector you can make, now you are having the 4 and 3 responsible. Okay, so you will be having what? Minus 4i plus 3, because it is going what? Left side direction. Okay, that is negative, and it is going upward direction, so that is positive. Minus 4i plus 3j, and also you are making magnitude of that minus 4 whole square plus 3 square. So you are having F2 value is what? 500 Newton, so you can make use of that. Okay, and by substituting it you are getting the answer. Okay, and fx value is what? F2x value is 400 Newton, and F2y value is being 300 Newton. And finally that last one, it is coordinates positions are given. Okay, 0.2, 0.3 meter as well as 0.4 meter. Now AB vector you can make, it is being minus that is 0.2 I as well as 0.4 j. So you can make use of that and you can complete the final answer. Okay, so you'll be having a 0.2 meter distance. Okay, so that you are considering, as well as a 0.4 meter distance is there. So by considering that, you can able to make initial and ending position you will be knowing. Okay, with the help of that you will be making the AB vector. Okay, initial position is being 0.2 meter distance, and final position is being 0.4 meter. So by applying the concept, unit vector concept, above vector, okay, and below you will be having a magnitude, so that you will be making the position difference and the magnitude of that one, and multiplying with the magnitude of the fourth, you are getting the F3x value as 358 and F3y value as 716 Newton. Okay, thank you.